Everything about Miami businessman Claudio Osorio says, trust me. With Jeb Bush on his board of directors, Hillary Clinton at his home, and NBA basketball players at his side, Osorio hustles his way to the top.
Here I am with the president-to-be. What other seal of approval do you need to show the world I'm legitimate?
Cleverly playing to charitable instincts in people, he sets up his victims to unwittingly sell his lies.
We are rebuilding a future that is so bright, and I'm happy to be a part of the process.
Claudio Osorio pretends to be a humanitarian entrepreneur, but he is not nearly as good as the company he keeps. And no one can even imagine the truth.
He is a fraudster. This guy's a sociopath.
May 9th, 2011, your time is approximately 10:11. We are at the deposition of Claudio Osorio.
Sir, please raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please tell us your full name.
Claudio Eleazar Osorio.
In 2011, in a Miami law office, Claudio Osorio sits for a videotape deposition. He is asked a simple question.
Was the company ever making money?
If you ask me, okay, I don't know.
Every question today? Let's assume I'm asking you.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, Mr. Budwick. I don't know.
The company in question is his own international business.
Did the company lose money?
I don't know one way or another, no.
What is going on here? How can a CEO not know if his own business is profitable?
If it lost money, do you know whether it lost a little money or a lot of money?
I don't know one way or another, no.
What is Claudio Osorio's game? For the answer, we need to go back to 1997. An awards presentation is underway.
Tonight, we celebrate excellence.
It's the prestigious Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award.
The Entrepreneur of the Year is, you ready, Louis?
All set. Claudio Osorio.
Claudio Osorio is 38 years old. He is the founder and CEO of the third largest computer distributor in the world.
Starting out of a 250 square feet small office in my home country in Caracas, Venezuela, I would have never dreamed that 12 years later, a $5 billion company was going to be created.
It is impressive. Osorio starts the company CHS Electronics when he is just 25. Headquartered in Miami, it sells computers anywhere but the U.S. His strategy is simple. Buy out the competition wherever he can. Tonight, as he accepts his award, he is operating in 39 countries.
Our dreams are made of unlimited energy, of fearless and sheer determination.
At this moment, Claudio Osorio is on top of the world. And more impressive than his award is his new address, Miami's Star Island.
He had a house just to the left of one of the yachts you see out there.
Business reporter Paul Brinkman says Star Island, home to celebrities and wealthy CEOs, is a perfect choice for Osorio.
It was a way to build his credibility by saying he lived among those people. It was a way to meet them. It was a way to get involved in the charity organizations that they were involved in.
At the end of 1997, as Osorio and his family settle into the world of the rich and famous on Star Island, computer hardware businesses are heading into tough times. But oddly, CHS is doing fine.
CHS was going the opposite way. They were growing both in terms of volume and most importantly, in terms of profitability.
Throughout the next year, Osorio announces record earnings, and CHS stock, trading on the New York Stock Exchange, soars. He has an explanation.
Quienes tenemos dirigiendo.
Osorio says that the people who are in charge of his company in each country are local people who know the business practices of that country. This year, those local people also know the truth. Their companies are losing money. One local manager eventually contacts Glenn DiValerio, an attorney for CHS shareholders. He says that he and others are suspicious.
They knew that if all of them were reporting downturns in profits, how was it that the company was continue to report record sales and record earnings.
The answer is what they come to call Claudio's magic. Submit a statement showing a loss to Osorio in Miami, and presto, that loss becomes a profit. It is also called cooking the books, and it's a surefire way to keep a company's stock on the rise. And so CHS stock continues to climb. But Osorio's game can't last.
As they got close to the end of the fiscal year, rumors started to surface about some problems with the financial reports.
Osorio must know he will be exposed, and so in March 1999, announcing a find of discrepancies in its financial reports, he reports that CHS profits in 1998 were actually millions of dollars lower than originally reported. And he quickly blames someone else, pointing the finger to Paris, to the vice president of European operations, who resigns.
Wall Street learns that not only were the numbers going to have to be restated, but they were the product of wrongdoing. And that is the kiss of death on Wall Street.
CHS stock plummets. Shareholders lose tens of millions of dollars on that one day. And so they sue, charging Osorio with fraud in civil court.
This was an open and shut case. The conduct here, once revealed, was very easy to unravel. There's nothing complicated about the fraud.
The case is settled out of court. The Board of Directors' insurance policy pays out more than $11 million, which does not come close to the amount lost by shareholders. CHS declares bankruptcy. But there's no real shame in that among the swashbuckling crowd Osorio runs with. And as long as no one looks closely, no one will discover that many of Osorio's shareholders believe he defrauded them and got away with it. Next on American Greed, Osorio says he has dreams to house the poor. But who is he really helping?
The fact that Claudio Osorio would divert that money from helping the Haitian people and save Haitian lives is one of the most despicable, low things that anyone could do.
For 4 years from his base on Star Island, Claudio Osorio looks for a new ticket to fame and fortune. Finally, in 2004, he stumbles on an idea that appears to be the opportunity of a lifetime. An inventor in Germany wants to use fiber composite material used in boats to create buildings of all kinds: homes, hospitals, office buildings. Osorio buys the idea and launches his new company, Innova.
The big selling point was that these fiber composite panels would be more cost efficient than using traditional building materials such as wood, steel, concrete.
Imagine the potential. For millions of people living in makeshift housing around the world, Osorio is offering an answer. A real home that can be built at little cost in a matter of days. The buildings are said to be fire resistant, able to withstand hurricanes and even earthquakes. What he sells to investors is not only a chance to make money, but a chance to make the world a better place. Former U.S. Attorney Kendall Coffey represents one of Osorio's investors.
What's unique about Osorio is he targeted people that wanted to do good, and he appealed to their instincts to try to create a product that could be transformational and very, very beneficial for millions.
Looking for investors, Osorio turns to Star Island neighbor Engin Yesil, a real estate developer who sees the potential for Innova housing in his home city of Istanbul.
It was important to him to be able to provide affordable housing in his own backyard. This would be a wonderful thing for him to be able to provide this to the community.
Yesil invests close to $8 million for a 30% share in Innova, and the business takes off. Osorio announces a $60 million contract at the Al Kahil Equine Theme Park in Dubai. And that, he says, is on top of contracts in Spain, Portugal, and India. And an Innova factory has just opened in Miami.
Having the product itself here in North Miami Beach, and investors were able to walk through it, see it, touch it, envision it in the state that they were going to implement it, that was a huge selling point.
The company is on a roll, and it gives Osorio the ability to attract a stellar board of directors. Miami developer Jorge Perez, retired General Wesley Clark, and the big get, the former governor of Florida, Jeb Bush, who is paid $15,000 a month as a consultant and board member.
The board of directors was an all-star cast. People loved the concept of Innova. What it could do in third world countries is something that I think everybody would stand behind.
Selling the company with Osorio is his partner, his wife, Amaryllis, who casts herself as a compassionate humanitarian. She says she believes that every person has the responsibility with the world and with God to give, especially when you have so much. That's why she raises money for orphanages in Siberia and daycare centers in Venezuela. Closer to home, she raises money for Hillary Clinton during her 2008 campaign for president. And that is how she meets Chris Corge, a millionaire real estate developer and longtime supporter of Bill and Hillary.
What I brought to the table was the prize of all prizes on the Democratic side. I brought the Clinton-Obama race.
In the fall of 2007, as Amaryllis and Corge plan a fundraiser for Clinton at the Osorio's house, Corge gets to know Claudio.
With the backdrop of seeing him interact with his own children, he looked to me like, father knows best. Almost like a perfect kind of father.
A turning point comes in June 2008, when Clinton concedes the Democratic nomination to Barack Obama, and supporters of the former opponents need to make peace with each other. Corge is impressed by what he sees as Osorio's sense of fair play.
What Claudio did was he invited us all to lunch at his house one day and kind of mediated in such a way, talking to the Obama folks that, we need to come together here. So that was another factor to me that said to me, this is a really good guy. Good family, strong board of directors. I couldn't find a lot wrong with the picture.
And there seems to be nothing in his past to cause any concern.
Jeb Bush hired a private investigator to investigate Osorio, Innova, to make sure that he wasn't getting involved in a company or with individuals that would create political problems for him in the future.
The allegations of fraud at CHS do not raise red flags. At least, not yet. Next on American Greed, Claudio turns 50 and his well-wishers turn out.
Happy birthday, happy 50th. We're at your house right now.
By 2008, as the world teeters on the brink of the Great Recession, Claudio and Amaryllis Osorio appear to have nothing to worry about. Living on Star Island, there is a Maserati in the garage and an expensive boat at the dock. And who can miss that diamond ring that Amaryllis displays so prominently?
They were spending $100,000 to $200,000 on a credit card every month. They had an apartment complex in Switzerland. They had another apartment complex in Telluride, Colorado.
But they always need more money. And together, Amaryllis and Claudio are tapping every possible source of cash for Innova. And now they are making their way into a whole new league, the NBA, reaching out to star players like Dwight Howard, Alonzo Mourning, Howard Isley, and Carlos Boozer.
In 2008, there were several professional athletes that were introduced to Mr. Osorio.
Attorney David Nunez represents Carlos Boozer and his wife, Cindy.
Mr. Osorio presented as a very successful, wealthy, savvy, international businessman.
In late spring, the Boozers and other potential investors are invited to a presentation on Innova at the Osorio's Star Island house.
Just the fact that he had a residence there already lent him some credibility.
And so does his resume. Entrepreneur of the Year, former CEO of a Fortune 500 company.
That in and of itself lends him tremendous credibility and makes him a star child. Really, he's a whiz.
And then there is Innova, already operating around the world. It could not be more impressive. Of course, a selling point is the involvement of someone like Jeb Bush.
It gives you a sense of comfort because one can't imagine individuals of that stature just nilly-willy getting involved.
But best of all is the financial picture. Osorio presents a company doing a booming business with a stunning amount of cash on hand.
It was $40 million in reserves, debt-free, a pipeline of construction projects worth hundreds of millions of dollars in the works, and gaining global recognition. The entire pitch was a masterpiece. He had all the pieces in place to persuade everybody that, if you didn't do this, you really are missing the boat.
Finally, the kicker of the presentation to investors is an invitation to a private meeting arranged by the Osorios with then-candidate for president, Barack Obama. It will be held at the home of Chris Corge, and Osorio makes sure his potential investors get special treatment.
Claudio organized at my house a private meeting with, at the time, Senator Obama and all of these NBA players like Carlos Boozer. Because of something like that, it raised the level of credibility that Claudio Osorio had.
Osorio can arrange a private meeting with Barack Obama? That's impressive.
It's like catching the big fish. Here I am with the president-to-be. That's a big deal. What other seal of approval do you need to show the world I'm legitimate? What else?
Nothing else. And eventually Dwight Howard, Howard Isley, and Alonzo Mourning invest in Innovita. For Cindy and Carlos Boozer, the decision to put their money into the company is not easy.
These folks are folks that are hardworking, that value what they have. Mind you, he wasn't drafted in the first round. Second-round draft picks don't get guaranteed contracts. He had to work hard to earn what he became in the NBA.
And so Osorio plays it cool.
He calls Carlos not to ask for him to invest, but to say to him, hey, you know what? There's a program called NBA Cares, and this program does a lot of work in Africa. I want to donate homes to that program. He does it to back off from the aggressive solicitation and to show that, you know what, you don't have to invest, but just let me help this cause.
It works. In August 2009, the Boozers invest $1 million, buying more than 5 million shares of Innovita at the bargain price of 19.5 cents a share. The money is coming in from all over. A developer in New York has given Osorio $1 million. Another in Tanzania is investing $2 million in an Innovita project to build floating villas in Hamburg, Germany. And finally, Osorio turns his attention to Chris Corge.
He said, look, you're trustworthy and you're smart and you're engaged. You care about the community. I would love for you to be part of the company. And you don't have to make a big investment. Make whatever investment you feel comfortable with.
And he shows Corge the financial statements.
As anyone would, I focused on the numbers, not on some small words that I can't see without glasses. Okay, I have to squint to look at the numbers.
And the numbers say that in 2008, the company has $37 million in cash, and that it will end 2009 with $39 million also in cash.
So you're seeing numbers that follow the story.
What Corge doesn't see without his glasses is the word in the top right-hand corner, unaudited. There is nothing official about this document. And what he doesn't know is that in Dubai, checks written from Innovita are reportedly bouncing, and that Amaryllis is asking Innovita employees to take a cut in pay, and that the Swiss government has opened a criminal investigation into allegations that at CHS, Osorio created false financial statements in order to obtain $220 million in loans from Swiss banks. That is not widely known, and everything that Chris Corge sees looks as good as it gets.
After seeing the financials and seeing the board and the entire picture, I thought, I'll invest $300,000 in the company. That'd be a good starting point. And it wasn't like he was hunting me down to get the check.
Corge buys 1,250,000 shares in Innovita. 2 months later, it is Osorio's 50th birthday party, and his crowd of well-wishers is impressive.
May you have many, many happy, healthy birthdays more, and that we're there to share it with you.
He's got an incredible vision. He's driven, hardworking.
Happy birthday, happy 50th. We're at your house right now.
Yes.
We want to wish you a happy birthday. We love you, we're proud of you. Let's go get drunk.
Chris Corge is there, and it is not at all the most extravagant 50th birthday party he has seen.
It was nice. I'm sure it cost, $100,000. But, he's got $39 million in cash sitting in one of the companies that he owns 98% of all the stock.
So in Corge's mind, Osorio has money to burn on his birthday. He just doesn't know it's his money that he's burning. Next on American Greed, turning a natural disaster into opportunity, as only Claudio Osorio can.
Along comes Osorio, and he says, I will do something in Haiti. I will build homes.
January 12, 2010. The attention of the world turns to a crisis of immense proportions in Haiti. A 7.0 magnitude earthquake has destroyed the capital city of Port-au-Prince. Hundreds of thousands of people are killed. More than 1 million are homeless. And Claudio Osorio steps in to seize the moment. He borrows a private jet from a New York investor and brings his team, with Chris Corge, Alonzo Mourning, and retired General Wesley Clark front and center right to the heart of the crisis.
The purpose was to bring medicine that was desperately needed there to save lives. Literally, you couldn't leave there without tearing up to seeing that devastation and carnage. And to see people in these tents.
For Osorio, it all spells one thing: opportunity.
And we also prepare several structures, 500 square meters each.
Returning to the U.S., Osorio calls a press conference to announce that Innova will donate 1,000 homes to Haiti. His believers put their reputations on the line for him.
We are rebuilding a future that is so bright. These people have a strong will. Their history proves that. And I'm happy to be a part of the process.
The national media picks up the story. Claudio Osorio is headline news. Armed with good press and impeccable credentials, he heads to Washington for a meeting with the Overseas Private Investment Corporation, OPIC, a government agency that helps U.S. businesses invest in worthwhile projects in the developing world. He's looking for a loan to help Innova build a factory in Haiti.
There was clearly a desire and a sense of urgency on the part of the federal government to do something in Haiti at that time. And along comes Osorio, and he says, I will do something in Haiti. I will build homes.
He presents his financial statements with that stunning figure of cash on hand, $39 million. And just 2 weeks after the earthquake, OPIC announces a $10 million loan to Innova. Osorio gets more than $3 million to start. Working hand in hand with Osorio and all of the company's business now is Chris Corge, who has invested over $300,000.
We were in touch 3 times a day. We saw each other 4 times a week. We told each other about very personal, family-related things, successes and challenges in our marriages, with our children, the good, the bad, the ugly.
And so Osorio knows Corge is worried about his real estate business. The market in Florida has crashed. He owes $28 million on properties worth approximately $5 million.
One of the things that he was an expert at was, as a concerned friend, he wanted to know how he could help me. And that further endeared him with me.
And suddenly an opportunity presents itself. Osorio says a group of sovereign wealth funds in the Middle East wants to buy 20% of Innova for $500 million. It is not that far-fetched.
Governor Bush had told me that he had gone to the Middle East and actually saw a floating home that was built, I think, in Abu Dhabi, and that he had seen the factory in the Middle East.
Osorio says the deal will create a huge windfall for Innovida's investors. He says Corge can make a killing, especially if he buys more Innovida stock.
I didn't know what I could afford to buy. I had to meet all my other financial obligations.
And so Osorio sweetens the pot. He says he will be getting more than $400 million when the deal closes, and he is willing to share.
He goes, I don't need this money. He goes, whatever you can raise, I'll match it for you. It's a gift, almost, okay?
The hook has been set. Corge wants in. Problem is, he doesn't have the cash. So in March 2010, he borrows $3 million. Combining that with money of his own, he invests $3.7 million, believing the deal will close in just over a month.
I felt like this guy was doing me the biggest favor ever that anyone's ever done for me.
Meanwhile, the homes Osorio promised for the survivors of the Haiti earthquake should be nearing completion by now.
I worked for a number of weeks trying to get answers out of Innovida at that point and saying, are you really building homes in Haiti? And they would say yes. And I would say, well, send me some pictures. Tell me where the homes are in Haiti.
OPIC is asking too. When Osorio reports that he has completed 60 homes, the agency's local representative heads out to see them. She writes back, I didn't see any constructed homes. OPIC decides to hold off on sending any more money to Claudio Osorio.
I remember thinking, is it really possible that somebody could claim they were going to do such a wonderful thing and then have no intention of doing that and just take your money instead?
Next on American Greed, Osorio's real talent.
He never showed tension. He never showed fear. Osorio was the best liar I've ever seen.
In the spring of 2010 in Coral Gables, Chris Corge says he is paying $25,000 a month in interest on a $3 million loan. He has borrowed the money in the hope that it will free him from an even bigger debt.
Even though I made a fantastic income, I couldn't pay off $28 million in loans. I didn't have that kind of cash. And I personally guaranteed all these loans. So this was my Hail Mary pass.
He expects to pay the $3 million loan back as soon as a group of Middle Eastern investors finalize their $500 million purchase of shares in Innovida.
The Sovereign Wealth Fund was supposed to close by May 5th. So May 5th came, and I wasn't terribly alarmed. I was talking to Claudio frequently, almost every day up until the 5th. After almost 2 weeks, I called Claudio and I said, Claudio, what's happening? He goes, it's just, lawyers, they take forever to get this done. And then I started hearing less from him.
And so Corge calls Innovida's chief financial officer to see what he knows about the Sovereign Wealth Fund.
He goes, oh, those sovereign wealth funds from the Middle East, when we met with them back in February, they told us that the company wasn't developed enough yet for them to invest in the company. Well, my heart dropped.
His next call is to Osorio, who quickly tells Corge the CFO is not in on the deal and knows nothing.
I said to him, Claudio, if this deal doesn't close in the next 30 days, I need all my money back. He goes, Chris, if you want all your money back, I'll give it all back to you.
Corge waits. June, no deal. July, no deal. And now Osorio is impossible to reach. In July, he tells Corge he is in Venezuela, but he is seen in Martha's Vineyard. In August, Amarilla sends Corge a text saying Claudio is out of the country and she is in New Orleans. And they are seen having lunch at Prime 112 in Miami Beach. When Osorio says he is visiting his father who has had a stroke, he takes the lie just a little too far.
When the guy sent me a picture of a man in a bed with tubes coming out of his throat and oxygen mask, I thought to myself, oh my God, I am so done. This guy has taken me. You know, who would do something like that?
And the evidence mounts. Osorio's Star Island neighbor, Ingin Yasil, is suing him. He wants his $8 million back because he discovers Osorio's entire sales pitch is not true.
What he found out was that the cost that Osorio claimed would be attendant to these prefabricated panels to be able to build a home was way off.
And that businessman in Tanzania who put in $2 million to invest in a floating village is in court saying Osorio never sold a single floating home. And he wants his money back. Finally, in September, Chris Corge files a lawsuit against Claudio and Amaryllis. His lawyer, Kendall Coffey, sets up a meeting with Osorio.
Claudio basically says, look, clearly our relationship has been severely damaged. Duh. Severely damaged. I want to kill him, okay? And so he says, so I'll just get him his money back.
Osorio was the best liar I've ever seen. He could look at you eye to eye, not a flinch, not a whisper of weakness or any possibility that he could be doing anything wrong.
Corge received nothing from Osorio. And as news of his lawsuit hits the press, Amaryllis flies into action, setting up a lunch meeting with Cindy Boozer.
She said that Corge was behind this campaign to extort Innova to give him back 300% of his original $4 million investment. But don't worry, we have a $200 million deal with China. I've seen the project. I've seen it constructed and being worked on. I personally went there myself.
As the court proceedings in Corge's suit begin, the focus is on that $39 million in cash. It's time to show Corge the money.
From the beginning of the litigation, Osorio was assuring the court that the money was there and that there would be documents to prove it.
But he stonewalls. He refuses to submit his financial records.
Osorio was clearly just trying to fight to live another day and would say anything and do anything if he could just buy a little more time.
By March, the judge has had enough. She orders Osorio to pay $4 million to Corge. And she goes a step further. She appoints a receiver to take over Innova. Claudio Osorio is no longer in charge. Next on American Greed, the Entrepreneur of the Year plays it dumb.
Have you ever looked at a bank statement?
As a lay person.
Okay. Do you think you need to be an expert to understand a bank statement?
I think so, yes.
In March 2011 in Miami Beach at Innova headquarters, Claudio Osorio is out, and court-appointed attorneys take control.
We went in and told them that we are now under a court order and secured the computers, secured papers, and basically locked down the offices.
As the lawyers pour through the records, it is immediately clear that Osorio's promising profitable company with wads of cash is broke.
There were unpaid creditors, probably over $1 million unpaid bills.
Unable to make payroll, the attorneys shut down the Miami factory. And they learned that despite the claims of factories operating around the world, there is just one other in Dubai.
All the press of having factories in Mississippi and Oman and Angola and Tanzania was just noise.
But there is still that $39 million in cash.
Some of the first documents we found were indications that there were substantial sums in the bank. We found an IRS form which indicated there was $37.5 million in an offshore account.
They call Osorio in for a deposition in May.
When you were operating the Innova entities, did you typically have an understanding on a given day approximately how much cash any of the companies had?
No.
You claimed that he didn't understand finance, did not understand bank statements.
Have you ever looked at a bank statement?
As a lay person.
Okay. Do you think you need to be an expert to understand a bank statement?
I think so, yes.
The documents the attorneys find suggest the money is in the Royal Bank of Canada in the Cayman Islands, but Osorio knows nothing.
Did money ever get deposited into RBC Cayman?
I don't know that one way or another.
Did money ever get spent out of RBC Cayman?
Again, not my area, Mr. Botwick. No, I don't know that one way or another.
Eventually, Osorio is asked the big question.
Do you have any reason to believe that at any time, in connection with your involvement and relationship with the Innova entities, that you ever violated any criminal laws of any jurisdiction?
No. And as a layperson is my answer, of course.
Not surprisingly, it turns out that he never had $39 million in cash. Osorio has been working his magic again.
This was Act 2 of what had already transpired with CHS Electronics. It was a blatant elementary school financial statement fraud, a few false, phony documents.
It was all smoke and mirrors. And now his investors learn that Innova never had a hope of being profitable.
It was a company that was hemorrhaging money and was being used as a personal piggy bank by Claudio Osorio.
Carlos Boozer learns that his $1 million investment may have gone to pay the mortgage on Osorio's house and his country club fees.
Oh, listen, it's like being punched in the stomach 50 times in a row. $1 million is a lot of money. And if it's gonna get stolen from you, it could have been given to charity. There's a million things you could have done with it.
And the OPIC money? Nearly 2/3 of the $3 million that was intended for the devastated people in Haiti was sent directly to Innova investors as supposed profits. The rest went to support Osorio's own fabulously wealthy lifestyle.
The fact that Claudio Osorio would take money from the U.S. government and divert that money from helping the Haitian people and save Haitian lives is one of the most despicable, low things that anyone could do.
In the end, it is determined that in just 3 years, Osorio made off with more than $40 million. He spent at least $8 million on himself. And now he, Amaryllis, and their business are in bankruptcy, and the attorneys look for money to pay back his creditors. The Maserati? It was leased. The boat? Repossessed by the bank. One item of value they have is Amaryllis's diamond ring, and she makes a bizarre claim to keep it.
We are told that the diamond ring was actually cubic zirconia and was borrowed from a friend of Amaryllis in Venezuela.
The story is a lie. The diamond is real. The ring brings in $50,000. And as people quickly disassociate themselves from Osorio, more money comes in. Jeb Bush returns $270,000 of the $460,000 he was paid as a consultant to Innova. $50,000 is returned from the Democratic National Committee. The biggest asset is, of course, the Star Island house. It is auctioned off for more than $12 million. With a nearly $7 million mortgage to pay off, it brings in $5 million. As 2011 comes to an end, Osorio has lost his business and his precious house. But he is now living in an oceanfront condominium. And as he says in his deposition, he sees a bright future.
If everything goes well, then I should have an income of about $250,000 a year, $250,000 gross.
Doing what?
Consulting.
Consulting for whom?
A company located in China.
Called?
That's a good question.
But the delusion of his next venture comes to a fast end in December when unexpected guests arrive.
We got there bright and early in the morning. At the time he was arrested and placed in handcuffs, I would describe it as physically and emotionally broke down to the point where I actually had to call EMS to the scene to clear him before we went on. So Mr. Osorio's world at that point crumbled, and he has been incarcerated ever since.
His booking photo shows the dazed expression of a man who never saw it coming.
Claudio Osorio was the Teflon Don. Nothing stuck to him throughout the years. He could always maneuver his way out of any type of situation.
Osorio has been indicted on 23 counts of fraud and money laundering. He pleads guilty. It is reported that as a condition of his plea, he asks that Amaryllis receive immunity from prosecution, and his request is granted. He is sentenced to 12.5 years in prison and is ordered to pay more than $20 million in restitution. Amaryllis has now divorced him. When Chris Corge learns that Osorio is headed to federal prison, he realizes the money he spent in legal fees exposing Osorio was one of the best investments he has made.
You don't get many opportunities in your life to do something that may save someone else's life. I could see where a fraudster like this could put someone in such a horrendous situation, losing everything they work for their whole life, because that's what almost happened to me. And he could care less about it. He has no conscience, no heart, no soul.
In a mountain retreat, a big game hunter and a lifelong con man stalk their prey.
Once I finally came to the realization that this thing is just a scam, it was too late.
No victim is too big or too small.
They took $25 from a 15-year-old paperboy. If he had it to give, they took it.
Until a trusted employee decides to bring them down from the inside.
If I just walked away, nobody would stop them. They would just keep taking money.
And later, in a tough real estate market, Hawaiian mortgage broker James Lowe claims there's big money to be made by fixing bad credit scores.
12% return in 90 days, which is astronomical.
But his investors' money goes straight into a veritable museum of collectibles.
These are opal-encrusted, handmade pool cues.
When the bubble bursts, the treasure's missing. So is James Lowe.
The judge comes out. Where's Mr. Lowe?
February 19th, 2003. In a conference room somewhere in Chicago, 4 men sit down to a meeting.
How you doing? Hi, Lou DeFranco.
Yeah.
Hey, hi, Chuck.
I recognized you. I saw your picture.
A wealthy real estate developer and his associates, seen here with their backs to the camera, are looking for an investment that will help finance their developments. The 2 men sitting across from them are Norman Schmidt and Chuck Lewis. They have a can't-miss opportunity.
All you do is put it into the trust, and we leverage your money and do it for you. And I make a lot of money on it because I get paid every day. So I'm using your money for 30 days.
But you're guaranteeing me 10% a month.
10% a month.
A month.
Scary, ain't it?
Schmidt claims to buy and sell multi-billion-dollar bank bonds on a secret market available only to the world's wealthy elite. He says it's where captains of industry and even presidents make their millions.
George Bush Sr.
Hello, George.
Oh, he is the biggest that's ever come down.
Billions and billions and billions.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the name of the bank?
What Schmidt and Lewis don't know is that this conference room has a hidden camera, and the developer is an FBI agent.
Why don't you give me the money?
This is the final chapter in a $56 million fraud that has ensnared more than 1,000 victims across the globe. Reaping the profits, the con artists have lived like royalty. Appropriately enough, their story begins in a castle. Nestled high in the Colorado Rockies sits the Redstone Castle, a 42-room mansion.
Here we are. Welcome to the Redstone Castle.
Sid Lang manages the property built in 1897 by coal magnate John Cleveland Osgood.
Osgood used this as his private home, but he also used it as a hunting lodge, so to speak.
More than a century later, in April 2000, the Redstone will again be used as a hunting lodge of sorts. The big game this time, wealthy investors. And the hunter, Norman Schmidt, who calls himself an investment manager and spends his life hopping from one get-rich-quick scheme to the next. Investigator Chuck Reinhardt has followed Schmidt for years.
You and I, we go to work every day, expect a paycheck at the end of the month. Norm, his personality just wasn't suited to that. if he could find a way to get that winning lottery ticket or some other means to make that big score. That's what he was looking for.
Schmidt and an associate run an investment fund called the Reserve Foundation Trust, which claims to trade in international bank debentures. Supposedly, these debentures are huge pools of money sold by banks around the world. And elite traders can make millions buying and selling them on a secret market. The castle is the perfect setting to wine and dine potential investors. But longtime caretaker Sid Lang quickly sours to the new owners of Redstone and to the parade of investors who flock there.
The characters that they would have visit them were shady, and their meetings were quiet and a hidden part of the carriage house, and everything really pretty soon just started getting really shady feeling.
And their habit of hosting alcohol-drenched all-night parties sullies the castle's good name.
I tried to introduce Norm to the community. But then people would say, oh, you know, where's the new owner? Oftentimes I'd say, he's over, see that drunk over by the bar?
In June, Lang is fed up and decides to quit her job and leave Redstone. But as a parting gift, she's offered a chance to invest in the fund. In exchange for investing $50,000 of her savings, she's promised a monthly return of 10%.
So out of $50,000, he said you could be, you know, bringing in up to $5,000 a month possibly at some point.
Though Lang finds Norm Schmidt and his investors distasteful, she's taken in by the promise of an easier life.
The whole time when you're struggling and money is hard to come by, and you think, for once, maybe I've got an investment that I can hold my own and not have to worry for the rest of my life about where my next dime is coming from.
Lang invests $50,000, moves to Denver, and buys a new home. But signs of trouble begin almost immediately. The monthly statements that were promised never come.
2, 3, 4 months go by and I'm not hearing anything and calling frantically because I feel like they're jerking me around, which they are, and just couldn't get anybody to respond.
In late 2000, the castle is shuttered. Schmidt is nowhere to be found. The fund is finished. And investors, about 100 of them, are out some $8 million. Lang faces reality.
Once I finally just came to the realization that this thing is just a scam, it was too late. It was too late. I was in a home that I couldn't afford, behind in medical bills that we couldn't afford.
Investor Sid Lang is out 50 grand. Though she will eventually recoup some of that in a civil lawsuit, the damage is done. She loses her dream home to foreclosure.
When you get set back like that, you just really never get caught up. It's like quicksand. You just can never dig your way out of that. And I just never really did.
Now Schmidt wants another go at it. He starts a new firm called Capital Holdings, based on the lessons he learned at Reserve Foundation. Former U.S. Attorney Wyatt Angelo says Schmidt reaches out to an old friend for help with the new firm, Chuck Lewis.
Chuck Lewis was a former used car salesman and former associate with Norm Schmidt in other investment activities that were probably questionable.
Lewis goes to work with Schmidt in a downtown Denver office, soliciting new investors for Capital Holdings. This time, Schmidt claims to have a new license to trade from the Federal Reserve, giving him exclusive access to the world of prime banknotes, a market open to just a handful of the world's wealthy elite, a familiar pitch. And as seen in this FBI video, Lewis sings his praises.
They got wired with people at the world level that have been in this, okay? Yeah. Which are very, very few. Very, very few.
Schmidt claims to pool investors' funds and then use the money to trade multi-billion-dollar bank bonds. He says he then returns the profits at 10% per month.
If you're working on 10% a month, is what you'd be working on. 10% return a month.
And so then over the course of the year, I'm looking at 120% is what you're telling me.
And investors, he says, are never in danger of losing their principal.
When you put it into the trust, or you put it into the brokerage firm now with Wells Fargo, you get an insurance policy. Now, if you want to insure it with credit risk, they'll insure your principal.
Schmidt and Lewis promise massive returns and no risk. The deal catches on, according to Chuck Lewis in an exclusive telephone interview with American Greed.
My family got involved, some of my friends got involved, and it was just a chain reaction, maybe somewhat similar to a multi-level marketing program, you know.
And with the addition of Michael Smith, a big game hunter and insurance salesman specializing in alternative investments, Lewis says the scam explodes.
It is ballooned. I imagine it went from maybe $50,000 to $100,000 a month to $1 million a week in just a few months.
Smith markets capital holdings to retirees like Carol Hendrickson. She and her husband Clarence had run a lake retreat in Idaho. The couple is looking to boost their income when a friend recommends the investment.
My husband thought it would be a good way for him to put away so that if anything happened to him, that I would be provided for in a comfortable way.
According to state securities investigator Chuck Reinhardt, the Hendricksons are fairly typical of people who invest with Norm Schmidt. Though the promised returns may sound too good to be true, it's the triumph of hope over experience.
When you get close to retirement, you're trying to pad that nest egg for the final time. It may sound odd, but you really want to believe. Boy, if I could just put this 25 grand in and turn it into $500,000 in a year or something.
As Hendrickson remembers it, the home of Smith, the big game hunter, is like a miniature version of the Redstone Castle.
Exotic animals, antelope, and animals that he told us he had shot on safari hunts all over the world, he would say. You're just taken abreast with all this information of wealth that all came through this investment.
Smith offers them 7% a month and assures them the deal is safe. They decide to take the plunge, taking out $50,000 from a mutual fund to invest with Smith.
We were told our money would be insured, and it would be insured through Lloyd's of London. We did get a letter along with this form showing Capital Holdings was insured for $200 million.
For Norm Schmidt, Capital Holdings is paying off. By the fall of 2002, he's raking in more than $2 million a year. Schmidt finances an entire NASCAR race team with the money and appoints his son the driver. The race team functions much like the Redstone Castle did in the earlier fund.
It was another, I guess I would call it a prop. And investors were taken by that and thought that, well, he's doing very well. I got my money in there, and someday I'll be able to buy all these wonderful things.
But the fast life is all a fraud. In January 2001, Chuck Reinhardt at the Colorado Division of Securities gets a complaint from 3 people in Fort Collins. They claim they had each invested $25,000 with Schmidt and never got their money back. Reinhardt recognizes the scam immediately.
It was a classic prime banknote scheme. All the language was there that's been used by perpetrators of this scheme for 25 years.
It's a genre of fraud that often preys on people's desire to believe in a secret market available only to the ultra-rich.
This is for the elite of the world. Take the top 10 billionaires of the world, and they would all tell you their stories of how they've made millions in this program. I'm here to tell you that it does not exist, period.
Reinhardt and FBI Special Agent Stephanie Hahn begin an investigation. In late 2002, they get their break.
Our big break comes when I receive a call from a woman. She's a little nervous. She doesn't want to identify herself.
The caller says she's the office manager for a Denver company that sells prime banknotes. As she describes the business, it sounds to Reinhardt like the very same scam he's been trailing for the past year and a half. He takes a chance.
So I offered her a deal. If I can tell you who you work for, will you tell me who you are? She says, sure.
He says Norman Schmidt and Chuck Lewis. And I went to pieces, of course, because those are the two people that I worked for.
Sue Vike, the office manager who made the call, agrees to meet with Reinhardt and Special Agent Hahn. She tells them she becomes suspicious in part because Lewis and Schmidt may be stealing investor deposits.
It would just go to Chuck, and Chuck would supposedly take it to Norman. I have no idea what they did with it.
Reinhardt and Hahn tell Vike that her boss is siphoning millions from unsuspecting retirees, and they persuade her to start working as an undercover witness for the FBI.
I wanted to just never go back there again. I really didn't want to go back to work.
But she knows what's at stake.
If I just walked away and I didn't go back, nobody would stop them. They would just keep taking money.
Coming up, see how one woman works as a double agent to take down a $56 million fraud from the inside.
I was very frightened. I couldn't sleep at night.
Denver, Colorado. In 2002, Norman Schmidt and Chuck Lewis are living the mile-high high life. Their investment firm, Capital Holdings, claims to use investors' money to trade enormous bank bonds issued on an ultra-secret market. Hundreds of investors have signed on, and the men are taking in an estimated $1 million a week. Carol Hendrickson invests $50,000 in the fund. When she receives her first monthly statement, it shows she has made almost $4,000 in just 30 days. She is so delighted, she gets out special stationery and puts pen to paper.
I actually sat down and wrote him a personal letter and thanked him for letting us join in on his company, and we were so happy with what was going on, and we hope to be able to continue to do business with him.
Little does she know, her investment, along with hundreds more like it, is going straight into the pockets of Lewis and Schmidt.
Chuck lived as if he was wealthy. He spent a lot of time, spent a lot of cash at the Diamond Cabaret, which is a strip club.
Sue Vike is leading a double life. While working as the Capital Holdings accountant, she secretly reports every move they make to FBI Special Agent Stephanie Hahn.
I would take my cell phone, I would go downstairs and go out back in the alley and hide behind a dumpster and call her.
Good thing she smoked, because that was her excuse to go outside. And so she said, I'm out at the dumpster, and this is what they're doing today.
But Vike has to keep up the facade, and doing the right thing is putting her in some difficult positions. She recalls one agonizing conversation with a potential investor.
She must have asked me 10 times, are you sure this is safe? I couldn't say, because we couldn't alert them to anything, so I would have to say, you have to trust yourself. What do you think? What do you think you should do? Do you think you should be investing in this program? And she gave me a couple different checks that were close to $100,000.
But before the FBI can shut down the operation, they need to catch Schmidt and Lewis red-handed. In February, at Agent Hahn's direction, Vike feeds Chuck Lewis information regarding a developer out of Chicago who is interested in investing a whopping $10 million with the firm. He takes the bait.
Chuck just about jumped up and down. He was pretty excited about that. He told me I would get a percentage of that if we managed to get him to invest, and they got right on it.
On February 19th, 2003, Schmidt and Lewis fly to Chicago to meet the supposed investor. But when Schmidt enters the developer's conference room in his racing jacket, An FBI camera is rolling.
How you doing?
Hi, Lou DeFranco.
Yeah, hey,
Hi, Chuck.
I recognized you. I saw you.
Schmidt makes his pitch.
So I wouldn't be buying the notes myself.
No, all you do is put it into the trust, and we leverage your money and do it for you. And I make a lot of money on it because I get paid every day. So I'm using your money for 30 days.
But you're guaranteeing me 10% a month.
10% a month.
A month.
Scary, yeah.
It's exactly what investigators want to hear. On March 7, 2003, FBI agents performed simultaneous search and seizures on the Denver office and 5 other related locations. They seized 2 million documents, freeze some 60 bank accounts, and confiscate assets like Schmidt's prized race cars. All told, the scheme has brought in more than 1,000 investors who have invested some $56 million.
We had a victim in 48 out of the 50 states and 13 countries.
In March 2004, Chuck Lewis, Michael Smith, Norman Schmidt, and 4 other associates are arrested and charged with 57 counts of mail fraud, wire fraud, and conspiracy. Schmidt, Lewis, and Smith go to trial. All are found guilty, and Schmidt receives a record 330-year sentence.
The court took into consideration the vulnerability of the victims, and so the court gave him the maximum sentence for each count under which he was convicted, which resulted in the 330-year sentence.
Lewis gets 30 years in Leavenworth. He tells American Greed from prison he never knew the investment was a scam.
I could have done a plea bargain for maybe just a few years, such as maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of the others did do. But being innocent, I wanted to go to court and clear my name. And in doing so, they give me 30 years.
Lewis appeals his conviction and is denied. Michael Smith gets 5 years for his role in the scheme. Thanks to the FBI's ability to freeze bank accounts, most of the victims get about half of their investment back. FBI Special Agent Stephanie Hahn credits Sue Vikes' work in helping them shut down the fraud before Schmidt could cash out.
Without the help of Sue Vike and her cooperation with the FBI and the other agencies involved, there would be no money for the victims. That money would have all been gone.
For victims like Carol Hendrickson, it still hurts. She's lost the money her husband wanted to put aside for her safety. In 2008, he passes away.
When my husband passed away, his income stopped. So this was going to help me, live comfortably. And obviously it didn't take place.
An agent once told me, never let greed overcome common sense. And I think that's a lesson we all need to learn.
Next on American Greed, a Hawaiian con artist steals millions with no regrets.
I recall sitting there thinking, what, am I looking at Ted Bundy here? This man has absolutely no compassion.
May 14th, 2009. Just off a barren stretch of highway in central Washington lay the twisted remains of a white Ford Explorer, 200 feet below the edge of a cliff.
The SUV was compacted into like this small vehicle that didn't even resemble the original SUV that went off the cliff. There was mangled metal everywhere. It was not a pretty picture.
Police pulled the driver out of the car. His ID says his name is James Lull, and he's got a round-trip ticket to Hawaii. Investigators are puzzled. How does a man with a ticket to paradise end up at the bottom of a desert ravine? The year is 1990, and 41-year-old James Lull has just arrived on the Hawaiian island of Kauai to begin a new chapter in his life. Lull lands a few jobs in the mortgage industry and eventually ends up as the branch manager at U.S. Financial.
People liked doing business with him because he was this affable guy. He was this big teddy bear of a fellow, and people liked to be around him.
And while he collects friends easily, he also has a penchant for collecting objects. Opals, arrowheads, meteorites, and sports memorabilia. His enthusiasm is contagious.
He always had something in his pocket that was interesting to look at. And, some of the time he would, pull it out of his pocket and give it to you.
Claire Mortimer first meets James Lull in December 2000, and he pitches her an investment opportunity. He says many of his loan applicants have poor credit scores, too low to qualify for mortgages. Investors like Mortimer can lend his clients short-term bridge loans. The applicants can then pay off debts.
If he saw somebody whose credit score wasn't quite high enough and it was something as easy as paying off your credit card, those were the people who he would present to me. He would say, this is the situation. Would you be interested in loaning X amount of dollars to this person? And it would be paid back to you within 6 months.
Once the mortgage goes through, investors get their money back, plus a tidy 12% return on their investment in just a few months. Not bad at a time when Treasury bills pay only 6% a year. Lull's bridge loan, if not reported on a mortgage application, is considered mortgage fraud. But Lull never explains that to his investors. And having worked long hours as a nurse while raising 2 teenagers on her own, Mortimer is pulled in by the lure of easy money.
I knew that there was just so many years that my kids would still be with me, and I wanted those years to be in a safe place where I could spend more time with them.
She invests several $1,000s with Lull, and in a few months gets all her money back plus 12%.
This is sweet. I just felt like, okay, this is on the up and up, and let's do it again.
Mortimer begins investing regularly with Lull, as do scores of other investors on Kauai.
We have something in Hawaii that we call the coconut wireless, and that's really the rumor mill that spreads among the people here because everybody knows each other. And so one person talks to someone else at the cookout or at the potluck, and the word spreads like wildfire.
And with a commission on every deal, Lull is reaping the benefits. In 2004, he moves into a $4 million house on the beach and takes his collecting to the next level. He buys more rare coins, including one $287,000 buffalo nickel, and acquires hundreds of pool cues. But you won't find these at your local bar.
Opal encrusted, handmade pool cues. The most valuable one of which I understand was worth about $50,000.
In 2003, Lull has so many applicants looking to boost their scores, he tells Mortimer just to leave her money with him.
He said, keeping track of this and facilitating this back and forth and rolling it over is getting a little complicated. And I'm in this office every day, and every day people come in here who could benefit from these loans.
Over the next 2 years, Mortimer takes out 3 mortgages on her own homes. She invests more than $700,000 with Lull. And why not? He's guaranteeing her 12% a year.
For a short period of time, I was filthy rich.
But the good times don't last. Coming up, James Lull goes from island hero to public enemy number 1. And angry investors want blood.
It was like pitchforks and torches. They wanted to string this guy up.
In 2006, James Lull is living an American dream in paradise. He's made millions operating a lucrative side business out of his mortgage company on the Hawaiian island of Kauai. Applicants come to him when they don't have a high enough credit score to qualify for an affordable mortgage. Michael Lilly, a former Attorney General of Hawaii, says Lull gets money from investors, then offers applicants a short-term bridge loan.
Lull gets them a $100,000, $200,000 bridge loan that's used to pay off whatever debt they had.
The loan applicant boosts his credit score and gets the mortgage, and the investor gets a whopping 12% return. The deals are wildly popular. Over the course of 6 years, Lull brings in some 50 investors. But around 2003, the investment scheme becomes a victim of its own success.
People would tell their aunties, their cousins, their moms, their dads to get into this investment opportunity. So James Lowell actually, at some point, had more investors than he had actual bridge loans to put their money within.
But Lowell keeps taking their money, even with no place to put it. To keep the scheme going, Lowell encourages investors to roll their interest payments over into new deals. He then uses the funds to pay off old investors. But there's one problem. Lowell must work frantically to bring in new investors, or the scheme will collapse under its own weight.
He was financially under the water at the end of 2005, but nobody knew it.
In May 2006, Lowell is getting desperate. He approaches Donnie Maione, a general contractor in Kauai. Lowell offers Maione the opportunity to invest $75,000 in a bridge loan for a client.
So he says, he goes, well, I got a client that's looking for a bridge loan.
He offers Maione 2.5% interest for a 2-week note. That's equivalent to a return of 65% a year.
I had heard of people in the community who had gone to him for these deals. And it sounds like one of those too good to be true things. But when you see it happening over and over, I started to question, well, maybe it's a real deal.
He gives Lowell the money, but 2 weeks go by and Lowell doesn't pay. For months, he holds Maione off with excuses, and Maione isn't alone. Claire Mortimer has been investing with Lowell for 5 years, but in June, her monthly payments of $7,400 stopped coming.
I frantically got on the phone, trying to call him, trying to email him, trying to get his attention and find out what the heck was wrong.
By December, Lowell is suffocating under a mountain of IOUs. There are now more than 70 creditors demanding upwards of $55 million from Lowell. The only way out is for Lowell to throw himself at the mercy of the bankruptcy court. Trustee Ronald Kodashirodo is assigned to the case.
I've been doing bankruptcy trustee work for almost 30 years. I've never come across a case like this where I've seen people so devastated by a debtor.
Kodashirodo calls a meeting of the creditors. Gone is the jovial Lowell investors have come to trust. Instead, in a packed hearing room, one woman who invested her life savings with Lowell demands to know where her money went, and Lowell shows no remorse.
Your money was long gone by then. I had paid monthly stipends to people and other small things.
Do you know that you ruined my life?
Yes.
Cold. Just absolutely cold in his expression.
Attorney Bradley Tam attends the hearing.
I recall sitting there thinking, what, am I looking at Ted Bundy here? This man has absolutely no compassion. And this is the one that everybody liked because he was so friendly.
Seeking refuge from the ire of angry investors, Lowell flees to the mainland and settles near relatives in Bellevue, Washington. He promises to help the trustee locate his assets and repay his victims. But the U.S. Trustee's office refers the case to the FBI, and agents begin pounding the pavement to find out what happened.
We go out there and start knocking on doors and talking to the victims to find out exactly what they were told to separate them from their money.
Now the FBI is on his trail, and Lowell is forced to trade his $4 million mansion in Paradise for a rented room in a basement outside Seattle, Washington. Peter Schaefer rents another room in the house.
He said that he'd had some bad luck in Hawaii. He'd lost some money and decided he would move away from Hawaii, but he had filed bankruptcy there.
Lowell manages to find work at, of all places, a local mortgage company. Then one day he offers his roommate a can't-miss opportunity for, you guessed it, a bridge loan.
He told me that he was doing these loans to mortgage applicants.
Schaefer has some money put aside for his son's college education, and he figures Lowell's offer could help strengthen the college fund. Schaefer invests tens of thousands on several short-term loans with Lull for returns of up to 20% per month.
You felt that he was your friend. He was doing you this favor. He was offering you an opportunity to make some money.
But aside from a few reassuring payments to keep Schaefer happy, that money never appears. Instead, whenever Schaefer approaches Lull about getting it back, Lull shows him pocketfuls of opals, rare coins, and jewel-encrusted pool cues.
He would bring them and show you and say, see, I have this, and now I'm going to cash this in, and you will be the recipient of the rest of the money that I owe you.
There's just one problem. The jewels don't belong to him. They're assets he's hiding from the bankruptcy court in Hawaii. After several months of excuses, Schaefer does some research that might have saved him had he done it earlier.
I Googled Jim Lull, Hawaii. Well, up pops this article that Jim Lull is a scam artist.
What's worse is Schaefer finds evidence that others are also being scammed in Washington.
And how much I made phone calls to other people that I knew that I thought might be involved, and found out that there were, I believe, 6 different people Jim was definitely into for at least $300,000 to $400,000.
Back in Hawaii, the FBI has finished its investigation. And on September 16, 2008, Lull agrees to accept responsibility and plead guilty to 1 count of wire fraud. He is to be sentenced in April, and the government recommends 12 years in prison. But Schaefer is following the trial and wants the judge to know what's going on in Washington. He flies to Honolulu to attend the sentencing hearing and takes the stand.
I looked at the judge and I said, you know, Your Honor, I don't know the agreement that Mr. Lull has with the court, but I can tell you that he is perpetrating the exact same crime on a smaller scale in Washington. And the judge's mouth just kind of fell open.
The court is shocked. The judge suspects Lull hasn't really accepted responsibility and that he is hiding valuable assets. She delays the hearing 1 month to consider a longer prison term for Lull. On May 15, 2009, the court gathers once again to sentence James Lull. But this time, there's someone missing.
We're sitting there, and the U.S. attorney comes in with the FBI. The public defender comes in, who's supposed to have Mr. Lull with him. And we're waiting, and there's a lot of talking and back and forth. And then the judge comes out. Where's Mr. Lull?
The judge was furious. James Lull didn't show up to his own sentencing, so she issued a bench warrant for his arrest. And because I was the case agent, it was going to be up to me to try and capture James Lull.
But Special Agent Simon doesn't have to wait long. Later that day, he gets a call.
It was a military police officer in Yakima, Washington, who told me that earlier that day, someone had driven off a cliff and fallen 200 feet to their death in an SUV.
When police removed the body, they found court documents, a round-trip plane ticket for Honolulu, and a driver's license that read James Lull. Fingerprints confirm it's him. Tire marks indicate the vehicle was accelerating as it left the highway and traveled almost 100 yards to the 200-foot cliff. The death is ruled a suicide. James Lull, dead at 60 years old. He takes his alleged crimes to the grave, having never been sentenced, and leaves dozens of investors with their life savings completely wiped out. Claire Mortimer betted all on James Lull. She took out 3 mortgages on her homes and lost it, more than $800,000. She sells her home in Kauai at a loss and moves in near relatives on the coast of Maine, 5,000 miles from the gentle breezes of Kauai.
It can happen to anybody. It happened to me. I'm an educated person. I think of myself as being pretty savvy, but I got ripped off big time. Big time.
Donnie Maione lost $75,000 to Lull. and is saddled with a high-interest mortgage on the dream home he built for his family. For 2 years, his family isn't sure whether they will be able to stay.
To watch my wife and see the pain that she was in was equally devastating, because here I'm supposed to be the provider, you know, I'm supposed to be the man of the family, thinking that I'm going to be able to, you know, give something to my family here, and I fell short of that.
Peter Schaefer loses his son's college fund to Lowe.
It was about $30,000 that could have gone to this education that I certainly would have been happy to have.
Leaving a path of destruction stretching far beyond the small island of Kauai. Lowe will be remembered as always wanting one thing.
His goal for the day, and literally day, would be to scam somebody for something. It's what made him tick, was getting something from somebody for nothing.
I didn't remember saying. A student passed. He lowered his gaze. Respect? Number? Avoidance. Outside, Beijing looked unchanged. Buses, steam, vendors, crows. But sound had shifted. Everything was half a tone lower. The city's key had dropped. I couldn't breathe on that pitch. Ling called. I let it ring. She called again. I answered. You disappeared, she said. I'm trying to stop. Good. Static crackled between us, as if a ghost were speaking too. Meet me, she said. No music, just tea. We met at a narrow tea house near the Lama temple. Rain tapped the roof. Incense hung in the doorway like old memory. You look ill, she said. I can't hear the first note. Her eyes softened. That melody was a threshold, not a house. You crossed it and tried to live there. I thought it was mine. She shook her head. Confessions don't belong to the confessor. They belong to the one who hears. I held the cup. It burned. I didn't let go. I'm being watched, I said. Then leave the door open. For who? For air. She took a small folded paper from her coat, an ink rubbing, ancient notation, pale as bone. Not the melody, she said, but the rule that protected it. Play once, whisper twice, then be silent. What does that mean? It means you broke the last line. We left without touching, a vow made of distance. That night, the tinnitus grew louder, a constant sizzle, an electric wire between temples. Underneath it, something else, a pulse that wasn't mine. I tried to teach the next day, scales, arpeggios. The students obeyed. My ear didn't. One girl's E string rang too bright. Another boy's vibrato wobbled like grief. Every flaw felt personal, like an insult thrown at the ruins of my hearing. Halfway through, I stopped. Again, I said. They played. I heard nothing but the hiss and the far-off beating of a broken drum. After class, the dean sent a message. Take leave. A euphemism with perfect pitch. Alone in my apartment, I opened the balcony. Cold air slid in like a blade. Down below, a vendor clanged a ladle against iron. The rhythm was familiar. 4 beats. Pause. 2. Another pause, the length of a breath. My skin prickled. The city had learned the melody, but it refused to sing it back. The whispers online hardened into accusations.
He fabricated sources. He bribed archivists. He sold the masters to a foreign collector.
I wrote a statement, deleted it, wrote another, deleted that too. Any sentence looked like a defense, and I was too tired to be on trial. Days blurred. Night was a needle that kept puncturing the same vein. I stopped answering the door. I stopped heating food. I drank water and bitterness, and slept in the shape of a question mark. On the 6th night, the old scholar returned. I don't know how he got past the building's locked gate. He stood in my living room as if he'd been there since the Ming Dynasty. "It's not the melody," he said quietly. "It's the bargain." "What bargain?" "The one you made when you mistook the ache for a crown. You promised you're listening to something older than you. It came to collect." "I can give it back," I said. He nodded once. "Bring 3 things. What you stole, what you broke, what you love. And then stop." He left with the calm of a man who believes in endings. What I stole, what I broke, what I loved. The archive file, my ear, my father's violin. I opened the case. His instrument slept inside, dark wood glowing like a low flame. I could almost hear his breath, slow, patient, shavings of maple dust on his apron. "Never lie to it," he used to say. I had turned the violin into an alibi. I tuned the strings by muscle memory. A, D, G, E. They responded like a tired choir finding a common note. The hiss thickened, then thinned, like fog shifting off a river. I raised the bow. I did not play the forbidden melody. I played the first piece he taught me as a child, a simple pentatonic lullaby. It wavered, fragile. I did not weep. The tears had already left. In the morning, 2 officers waited outside my door. Civic smiles, administrative politeness. They asked me to accompany them for clarification. I brought no violin. A white room, a table, a camera's red light steady as a heart that refuses to learn a new rhythm. "We need your full archive," one officer said. I handed a drive across the table. He plugged it in, opened folders. Empty. He frowned. "Where are the files?" "They were there," I said. He watched my face for the twitch of a lie. He found a whole storm. Hours passed. Questions circled back on themselves like a snake eating its own tail. Who helped you reconstruct it? Which monks? Which patrons? Which foreign entities? I answered until my answers became echoes. Finally, they let me go. "We advise silence," they said. I almost thanked them. Silence